executioner pushed the plunger that started the flow of pentobarbital that was lethal in 9 minutes. Jack Callahan, Fox News.
More news online at afn.net and the AFN mobile app. I'm Rustin Hugh.
Can we trust the Bible?
He says we saw this, and that sets the Bible apart from almost everything else in the ancient world and its religious pantheon of gods and goddesses.
The God Who Speaks, the important documentary from the American Family Association, is now available to watch for free on AFA's brand new streaming platform. Go to thegodwhospeaks.org to watch this award-winning film today. thegodwhospeaks.org. Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildman, President of the American Family Association.
Family Radio Network on this Wednesday, August the 2nd, 2023. We thank you for listening to AFR. Joining me in studio is Ed Battagliano. Good morning.
Good morning, Tim.
Ed, and good morning, Chris Woodward.
Good morning.
Chris, when you're not on the show, what do you do over there?
That's a good question. I'm the newscast coordinator.
That's not the answer I was looking for, Chris.
I'm a newscast coordinator for American Family News, so I play a role in deciding what we put on the radio, who covers it, how we cover it.
You have a lot of control, don't you, Chris?
To some extent, when Fred allows. But I also cover legal news, business and environment, healthcare. I pick up Tim's dry cleaning if I need to, because I have 3 people at home depending on me to eat.
Well, Fred's filling in at noon today.
Yes.
The noon hours, so noon Central Time. Well, I wanted to give you all a plug. In all seriousness, you and Fred and Steve and the team there at American Family News, you guys work around the clock to provide that 5-minute newscast, which most radio networks don't do anymore.
Right.
That airs at the top of the hour until 5 after the hour. You guys put that together every day, right?
Yeah, if you listen to a radio station and you hear a guy plug their news outlet like 30 seconds into the story, that's because they do what's called a false out cue for the stations that only want like a 30-second newscast. We're very blessed to have 4 minutes and 29 seconds at the top of every hour.
30-second newscast?
Yeah.
In 2023? How do you cover anything in 30 seconds?
It's hot out there, and politics is crazy.
God bless you.
Next up.
Yes. So we're very happy to have what we have, and we do news all day.
I wanted people to be aware, most folks listening to us right now maybe are aware, but we have a daily news digest, is that what you call it?
Yes.
That we release that people might want to take advantage of.
Yes. If you go to afn.net, which is our news website, afn.net, look in the top right of the screen, you'll see a button that says subscribe. If you have not already done so, enter your name and email address, and once a day, you'll get an email mid-afternoon from the editors. They compile about 5 or 6 stories, things that you need to keep you and your family informed. We do not charge you for this. We do not share your email address. It's just so we can email you and keep you informed. Please, by all means, print these things out, share them on social media, give them to your Sunday school class, and help us do what we do.
Amen. Well, how many people get that? Do you know?
Oh, the numbers are huge. And I will tell you that there was an analysis done, this is probably in the last year or two, but California was one of the states where we're getting a lot of people, number one, signing up, but also clicking on and opening up our articles. So don't just roll your eyes and think, well, I don't live in California. There are people out there that love their country, that do care, and they're trying to make a difference. And you can help by donating to AFR and keeping us going.
Anyway, it's Monday through Friday, once a day, late in the afternoon, and it's the news for the day in one area, in one simple email. So
that's right, and it'll take you click through, and it'll take you to American Family News, and then there's all kinds of stuff. There's video
Yes, the news that we have that comes from Associated Press, not from our own staff, that is edited.
It is, yes.
We edit it because we eliminate the bias that is always in Associated Press stories when they deal with cultural issues.
Yes. Fred does a lot of the editing, so Fred's the Filter Fred. When he's not on this show or The Awakening or one of the other shows that he does fill in as host from time to time, he is the one going through those and making sure that you're taking out a lot of the bias, which the AP is known to have. So when you go to our website and you read our AP content, it's not going to be the same verbiage that you might get on, say, abcnews.com.
All right, so nothing much happened in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, it's been really
so
slow.
we're going to play some smooth jazz for you this hour. No. All right, leading the news.
Yes.
Big news out of D.C.
Right. In case you have no idea what's happened in the last 12 to
What
24
rock
hours.
have you been living under?
There's always that person. But anyway, Donald Trump, former President Trump, was indicted yesterday on felony charges for what authorities and left-leaning news outlets call working to overturn the results of the 2020 election in the run-up to the violent riot by his supporters at the U.S. Capitol. It's a 4-count indictment in the third criminal case against Trump. And the AP, for example, pointed out on another website, this provides deeper insight into that dark moment that has already been the subject of exhaustive federal investigations and captivating public hearings. I have, if you go to our website today, afn.net, you'll read more about this. We have reaction from Trump's lawyer, and we also have some information on the judge in this case. If you guys are not aware of this, the judge, whose name is, and I may be mispronouncing this, Tanya Chutkin. She is an appointee of former President Barack Obama. She was appointed to the District Court for the District of Columbia in June of 2014, and she's already known for handing out some of the most severe sentences for so-called rioters charged in the January 6th events. As far as the lawyer, they call the latest indictment an attack on free speech and political advocacy.
Okay, Ed and I were talking before the program. One of the disadvantages we have here, admittedly, for the next few minutes is that I'm not a lawyer. You went to law school, didn't you?
I could stay at a Holiday Inn and still not be a lawyer.
You went to law school for what?
No, I didn't.
You were going to. I thought you told your parents that's what you were going to do.
I've told this on my mom.
Do I misremember?
She's in heaven. My mom is in heaven. But I was an undergrad political science major. This is before I became a Christian. And when I became a Christian and decided to go into the ministry, my mom would tell people, my son gave up his law career to go into the ministry. And I would say, Mom, I was never a lawyer. She would say, yeah, but you went to law school. No, I didn't go to law school. I was an undergrad. I was pre-law. My mom would get confused about those things.
Okay.
That was my intention. And God called me into the ministry instead.
That's a big career difference.
And my dad was not happy with it.
Because he was an unbeliever at the time.
Well, even when he became a believer, he thought, my dad passed in January, so I'm not trying to speak evil, obviously, of my dad. I think my dad thought I was wasting my talents going into the ministry, which talent's got nothing to do with it. If you ever heard me preach, talent clearly has nothing to do with it. That was the calling, and
that's why you're here today, though.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
So God did have a plan for your life that included ministry, not just behind the pulpit,
right?
But here with us on AFA and at AFA and AFR. Okay, so
but to your point, we're not lawyers.
We're not lawyers.
We're trying to discuss an indictment,
right? And Abraham Hamilton III. He was
he's going out of town. I think.
Yeah, so he said. And then
Steve
Crampton. Steve's mowing the yard. Then we got Chad Christian Adams. We invited him. We got his. Did we get his? What did we get? His answering machine? What did we get? I just want people to know that we tried to get a lawyer.
I'm still waiting on his reply.
Okay. Most times you can get a lawyer, but you got to pay. And we try to get them free here, and they wouldn't come on with us. No, I'm just kidding. All those guys had obligations, and Jenna will be on tomorrow. Jenna Ellis, she is a constitutional attorney, and she will be on with us tomorrow, and we will discuss this and other issues. Okay, so what happened yesterday was that Jack Smith, you call it a special prosecutor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He announced publicly the four-count indictment of former President Trump regarding the January 6th episode that happened in our nation's capital.
It was a protest or a riot or an insurrection, depending on your political point of view.
Bingo.
Right. Well, it was a protest that got out of hand. How about that?
In some places, it did. Some people were just peacefully walking through, as we've all seen the video. And then some people were clearly breaking the law, going into Speaker of the House's office and carrying things.
They went into the United States Capitol when they weren't supposed to.
Right.
When it was closed because they were certifying the presidential election.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what you started reading some of the indictment, right?
Yes.
Okay.
After all, I gave up a career in law. So the indictment has four. Now there are probably some other things that will come into this, but four, let's just call them legal accusations against the former president. As you start reading this, I got to tell you, I have read indictments before. I've read Supreme Court cases. Just the wording of this from the very outset seems extraordinarily weak. So this is what the indictment lays out. This is the second point. Despite having lost, the defendant was determined to remain in power. So for more than 2 months following Election Day, I'll skip a few words here and there, the defendant spread lies.
The defendant being Mr. Trump.
That there had been outcome determinative fraud in the election and they had actually won. These claims were false and the defendant knew they were false. Now I'm reading this. This is the second paragraph in the introduction. I'm reading this and I'm thinking that there does not appear to be any legal statements here so far. This is all Jack Smith trying to read into the former president's heart and mind. He's spreading lies intentionally. He knew it was false, that he had lost the election.
This is what Mr. Smith accuses Mr. Trump of doing. Okay.
And so
the reason I interject there is because sometimes when you talk, you said Trump's name, and then you said, okay, well, he was trying to read into the mind.
Yes.
So
Smith, I guess I should clarify that.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, to me, I don't think that Smith is going to be able to prove anything like that. Also,
and how many
Trump
pages of the indictment have you read?
Well, I would say probably. I just started before coming on the show, probably 10 or 11.
You read more than a lot of people paid six figures to talk about it on TV.
So there's a conspiracy to defraud the United States, I'm quoting, by using dishonesty, fraud, and deceit to impair, obstruct, and defeat the lawful federal government function by which the results of the presidential election are collected, counted, and certified. There is also a conspiracy to corruptly obstruct and impede the January 6th congressional proceeding and a conspiracy against the right to vote and to have one's vote counted in violation of, and there's a U.S. code cited there. So all of this to me boils down to the accusation that Jack Smith is making and the Democrats that President Trump knew the election was rightful and lawful and that Biden had won, but Trump didn't care. And he was spreading falsehoods that allowed him to whip up a crowd and send them down to the Capitol to try to stop what the Constitution clearly allows, and that is the counting of the votes. And I don't think Jack Smith can prove that in court. Although my prediction is, with this judge and a D.C. jury, former President Trump will probably be convicted and have to appeal it in order to get it overturned.
In addition to Ed's legal coverage,
and he did major in political science.
He did. I took mass media law. Clearly not the same thing.
I just want people to know we're not without credentials here.
Right.
To speak to these issues.
Just prior to the Abe's commentary last night in his show because the indictment was just out at the time that Abe started his program. And full disclosure, this is not all that Abe had to say. It is but a portion of what Abe had to say. So please do check our Facebook page for the link to Abe's podcast, where you can get more from Abe on this indictment. Who
is an attorney?
Yes. Now, Attorney Abe was reading through the indictment, and he had several questions. Here is an idea of one such question, clip 11.
You have the Department of Justice stating in an indictment that the defendant, here is, quote, the defendant spread lies that there had been outcome determinative fraud in the election, end quote. I have a question for everyone, and y'all have to excuse me because I'm getting upset. The Department of Justice has all of the investigatory apparatus available to it. They can find it. I mean, you happen to be in D.C. in January, FBI agents showed up at your house. You will make a statement in an indictment that there was no outcome determinative fraud. How else am I supposed to interpret that phrasing other than as an admission that even the Department of Justice is acknowledging, well, yeah, there was some fraud?
That's good. Is that the end of the clip?
Yes.
That's an excellent point. What Abe is saying is that President Trump believed that there was outcome determinative fraud, which means there was fraud that didn't change the outcome. And that's been the argument against what happened on election day in 2020. Was that people will say, well, maybe there was fraud, but nothing that changed the outcome of the election. And I guess what Abe is saying is that the indictment is admitting there was fraud, but it didn't change the outcome of the election.
Right. And again, I have shared the link on our Facebook page to Abe's podcast. If you look on the Facebook page, you'll see the link for that. If you're one of the people watching our show on Facebook, first of all, thank you for that. Check the comments because I've included the link there as well. I have more audio if you want.
Okay, let's go.
Not
Audio what?
This is where we get into people responding to the indictment. I've got several people here. Let's mention this because it involves somebody running against Trump for the GOP presidential nomination. Presidential candidate and Republican Vivek Ramaswamy offered these thoughts on television last night. Clip 2.
It would be easier for me if Donald Trump were eliminated from competition. That is not how any of us should want to win, because that is bad for this country. That's why I think it's important for those of us competing against Trump to take a strong stand against these politicized indictments.
Now, he's running against Trump. Maybe he's trying to win some favor amongst the voters, but that was an interesting comment, I thought, from somebody wanting to be president and not Donald Trump.
Well, I think that Vivek Ramaswamy, I just like saying it.
The best name of any candidate.
Absolutely.
I got to go with that.
Yep.
Huh?
I think
that's
he's
subjective, but the way that just rolls off your tongue.
Yes. Vivek just has a kind of a masculine quality.
Yes, it does.
Quality to it.
Right.
And Ramaswamy
like a superhero or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's like a lot of these candidates has to walk a tightrope because President Trump is still extremely popular amongst, I would say, probably 25% of the Republican voting base. And you do not want to alienate folks, but he is speaking the truth. It would be better for him to say next to nothing and let this play out, or jump on the side of Jack Smith, which is what apparently what
今10時23分
and go after Trump to try to get him out of the way to improve your own odds.
Right, so
11時に始まるからね10分前に行ってた方がいい
really